All right, welcome. Today, we are diving deep into Chapter 3 of the book Parenting Education from the International Institute of Islamic Thought. Now, this is an absolutely fantastic guide, and it's all about helping parents like you and me move beyond just, surviving the day-to-day and actually build a family with a real, solid, strategic vision for the future.
So let's just jump right in with a question. Think about this for a second. We spend so much time mapping out our careers, right? We plan our vacations down to the last detail. But what about our family? The single most important project we will ever undertake. Do we give it that same level of planning? Often we just kind of let it happen.
And that's exactly what the book points out. Without a real long-term strategy, we just end up drifting. We go from one task to the next, work, school runs, putting out fires, just hoping that things will work themselves out. But when we're always reacting, we miss this incredible chance to proactively build a secure, meaningful, and amazing future for our kids.
So where do we even begin? Well, the book takes us right to the most crucial first step, setting the right goals. And for that, it draws inspiration from a really powerful prayer found directly in the Quran.
You see, in this prayer from the servants of the Most Merciful, there are two huge wishes. The prayer asks God for spouses and children who are the joy of their eyes and to make them leaders for the righteous. Now, these aren't just poetic words, okay? They're basically a strategic blueprint for the family. Let's break that down, because this is key. The first wish, Qurratu Ayun, is all about the internal happiness of the family. It's about creating a home that is a genuine source of peace and comfort and joy. The second wish, Lil Multakina Imama, is about our external impact, the goal of raising kids who grow up to be righteous leaders, true role models for their communities. Okay, so we have this grand vision. But how do we build it? What do we build it with? Well, for that, we need the right raw materials. And the book focuses on two foundational ideas, the minerals of our character and what it truly means to be a guardian for our children.
Now, this idea is so interesting. What this teaching tells us is that our faith doesn't come to erase who we are. It doesn't get rid of our natural qualities, courage, honesty, creativity. Instead, it takes those raw minerals of our personality and it refines them with wisdom and divine guidance, perfecting them for a much higher purpose.
And this brings us to a really crucial distinction the book makes. The goal in parenting isn't leadership in the typical sense of power or control over our kids. No. The much more accurate term from our tradition is guardianship, or shepherding. It's a role that's all about care, service, and a deep sense of responsibility.
And this quote, wow, it just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? Parenting isn't about being a manager, it's about being a devoted guardian. Every single parent is entrusted with a flock, and we will all be asked about how we cared for them. This idea of a sacred trust is absolutely central to this whole approach to parenting.
Okay, so we've talked about the why, now let's pivot to the how. We've got the vision, we've got the foundation. So what are the practical, everyday tools we can actually use to build our family's character and reach those big, long-term goals?
To help us figure out our priorities, the book uses this fantastic analogy of the jar of life. I love this. Imagine you have an empty jar, and that jar represents your life. Now, how do you fill it up? If you start by pouring in all the small, unimportant stuff first, you'll quickly realize you've run out of room for the things that really, truly matter. The lesson here is so simple but so profound. You have to put the big things in first. The tennis balls, your faith, your family, your health, those have to get top priority. Then all the other stuff, the pebbles like your job and your car and the sand of daily chores, that can all fill in the gaps. Because if you start with the sand, those big, important things will never, ever fit. And what about the coffee? Well, that just shows that no matter how full your life might seem, there's always a little room to connect and share some time with the people you love. It just slips right into the cracks.
So let's bring this all back to parenting. The character-building activities that the book suggests, those are our tennis balls. They're the big, important priorities that we have to consciously make room for if we're serious about building that strong family vision. And just look at this. The book lays out these simple, practical activities and then shows you their direct impact. I mean, teaching a child to care for a plant, that's not just about gardening. It's a daily lesson in responsibility, in consistency, in nurturing something. Insisting they respect their word, that builds a foundation of honesty and integrity that will last a lifetime. And the book is packed with little gems like these.
For example, instead of shutting down their emotions by saying, "Don't cry," you engage with them by asking, "Why are you crying?" See the difference? That builds emotional intelligence. Teaching them how to lose a game gracefully, that builds resilience. These aren't huge, dramatic gestures. They are small, consistent actions that shape who they become.
The book also pushes parents to be really proactive in shaping their child's worldview. This means we have to actively counter some of the harmful messages they might hear, like those old proverbs that promote aggression and selfishness. Instead, we have to talk to them about what true, loyal friendship looks like, and tell them stories about the beauty of sincerity.
Okay, let's bring it all home. When you take this kind of strategic approach, it completely transforms parenting. It stops being just a series of tasks and chores and becomes this profound legacy-building mission where we, as parents, become intentional role models.
So the whole blueprint really boils down to 5 key things. Number 1, be the person you want your child to become. 2, balance that discipline with tons of encouragement and support. 3, instill a strong sense of who they are and where they belong. 4, and this is a big one, admit your mistakes and apologize to them. And finally, crown all of your efforts with faith and prayer.
And it's really important to note, this framework isn't just some nice advice. It's part of a serious academic project from the International Institute of Islamic Thought, and it's supervised globally by an expert in education, Professor Salah Abdul Sami Abdul Razik. That gives it some serious weight and credibility.
So there you have it. The blueprint is in your hands. The vision is clear. The tools are practical. The only real question left is, what are you going to do with it? What is the first, most important tennis ball that you are going to intentionally place in your family's jar this week?